Hello, my name's Scott Collier. I am the creator and designer of a game called Chaos Rising, and this is basically a development log of the parts of the system that I'm designing, and I'm just going to run through the kind of things we're going to go through today, which is we're going to go through the new tracker again, and we're going to look at the rules document that I've now created as a draft, and we're going to look at some enemy profiles, a bit more detail, some adventure profiles, the example combat with all these things that we're going to look at. I'm going to talk about a game jam that I'll be introducing next week on this system, so you'll get a chance to look at the rules and play it for yourselves in advance. And then talk about the next video, which hopefully will be more around the expedition part of the game. Right, so let's start out of the way. Right, so first thing is the new tracker. Worked on this new tracker, just a few changes. I put on there which says acted and ready, and so that's easier to track people back into acted or ready. I've updated some of these where the adventure activation section and enemy activation section. I've added engagement collapse. I've put in placeholders for the different icons, which I will come on to, and updated a bit of the combat round, added a bit of description around the attack roll. So yeah, bit of an update on the tracker. As I've mentioned, I've created this rules document, and as we can see in this rules document, it's just a draft for now, but I've managed to get it in the format that I want. It's 14 pages, and that's the contents, and it talks about things, what is this combat system, what is it trying to do, how it flows, how enemies behave. Then we look at the full procedure, and then we look at some examples. So yeah, we look at what is combat. We've got some call outs, core principles. We look at how it flows. We look at the different states, how enemy behaves, combat procedure, entering combat setup. We talk about round structure, and then the rules that I mentioned in the procedure itself. We look at rules such as engagement states, how momentum works in detail, the actions that can take. Those are managed to get some icons that I can put next to them, so it makes running through some of the actions a lot easier cognitively, so the player won't be forever having to read things. They can just look at icons and find out what they mean, and they're pretty self-explanatory, like hold is a hand, charge is a sword, doing a swishy motion. So we've got that. Talks about special abilities. We've got critical hits, broken weapons, and then the other thing which I'm quite happy about is these, which are the graphical examples of how certain parts of combat work. We've got the dice in the various bits, and examples around forming engagement, checking momentum, engagement collapse, enemy activation, preparing a spell or a prayer. And then right at the back, we've just got the references of what the icons are and what they mean, and then the combat styles, where we just have to look at the icons to tell us what the enemies actually try and do during the combat, rather than lots of words, which I find is quite good. And then we've got some descriptions of the criticals. So that's the sort of rules that I drafted this week. So that'll be sort of that bit's ready to sort of play test and run part of the game jam. So I did a bit on the enemy profiles. I managed to shrink them, and I've collapsed the stat blocks into the number, level, the attacking bonus, the defending bonus, and the hit points. Got the millage damage, still some work to do on this, but then I've got the criticals, And this is the Ogre Jail. I don't think you've seen that before. And then this is the holding place for the icons that go to update. And then, unlike what we did in the previous video, we can now just lock down each on these depending on what state they're actually in. And then we've got the combat focus. So that's that. We've got the adventure profiles, which I'm just drawing up. These are just samples. These are not character sheets. This is just enough to play the combat at this point in time. So again, I'll probably, when they do the game jam, I'll include all this and these as well to sort of help the see the system running. We introduce things like traits, which are skills that will be particular to each class. So, for example, a trait for the warrior is shield mastery. Once per combat, reduce physical damage from a melee attack against you by 1 to a minimum of 0. Starts basically blocking some hits. For the exorcist, which is cleric, that will be sort of a bonus to your cure light wounds. You would expect from rogue to be able to move out of combat without triggering a withdraw, which we'll talk about later. And then arcane ward is sort of like a shield the magic user can put on people. So yeah, for each enemy profiles, the level, number of hit points, the weapon that they're actually using or that they have, and whether they've got a shield or not, the critical, what type of critical the weapon actually does. We will go through them during when we're under combat. The dexterity modifier, which is used to determine the withdraw. We've got the total attack bonuses that these adventurers use, the total defense bonuses, the amount of damage, base damage that their weapon does on a hit, the spells that they know and are in their slots, favor, which is sort of the currency points that the exorcist use to cast his prayers, marching order, and then just a quick overview of the traits. So that's the adventure profiles. And now I'm going to run through an example combat. So, as we did last time, we've got the combat round here, and we're going to do it step by step. I've got some handy little dice. These are some dice that were given to me and bought for me last week. These are chaos dice, I believe. These look quite good. And I've got a rogue dice there. And we've got the dice for the momentum. And these are just some that I can use to roll the combat, which is a d20. So first of all, when we do it, we determine which side is going first. So in this combat, I'm going to state that the adventurers go first. The participants in the combat, we've talked about the adventurers. We've talked about the enemies, and the way that the combat is set up when you first put it on the tracker, as it states in the rules, it will state that you will put them in descending order on the adventurer's side in marching order. So I've got the warrior first, I've got the rogue second, I've got the magic user third, and I've got the exorcist fourth. That's deliberate because sometimes the enemies may have a combat focus, which is the person furthest away in the marching order. And I don't want that to be the magic user, so that's deliberate. And then for when we set up the enemies, we set them up specifically, and this is the procedure, by enemy level first. So we do the orcs first, and in order 1, 2, 3, 4, down, and then the ogre jailer, he's actually a level 2, he's not a level 1. Well, that's a lie. I'll change that. That's a level 2. And because he's level 2, he then gets put at the back. There's only one of him. And there's 1d4 of these, and I've got a 4. Excuse me. So that's the setup. We're ready to go. Adventure is going to go first. I'm going to follow this and clear active markers. Everybody's now in ready. Update any temporary counters or round-based effects. We just start in, there is none. And the first side activates, which is the adventurers. I resolve any effects. There are none. Choose one adventurer who has not acted this round. I think what I'm going to do on this one, I'm going to activate the warrior and check whether that warrior is hanging back, which he is. and then choose a legal action. And looking at these combat actions, I think what I'm going to do here is he's got a big maul, which is a massive two-handed hammer, like a Lucerne hammer, if anybody remembers their Dungeons and Dragons. And what he's going to do with his massive hammer, he's going to specifically target this ogre jailer and try and do some heavy damage. So he's going to charge, do the charge action. What the charge action is that he will move into toe-to-toe. He will move in the ogre jailer, and then he will make a melee attack as part of the charge. To do a melee attack, we roll 1d20, add his attack bonus. His attack bonus in this is 5, and we have to get over 11 plus the target's defense bonus. Target's defense bonus is 4, so that's 15. So he has to get over 15, rolling this and adding 5. 8. So that would be 13. That would be a miss. The move him as acted, because that's his action. He's attacked and missed, and he's dragged him into melee. He's still ready because he's not yet acted. Okay, that was terrible by the warrior. So what am I going to do next? What I'm going to do next is I reckon that this is going to be particularly tough. So I'm going to get the magic user to I'll just run through these again. Check the icon, choose a legal action. I've got a legal action on hanging back as use special ability, and one of the special abilities that can activate a trait. I'm going to activate Arcane Ward as his action, and he's going to put a ward on the fighter, and I'm going to put it in here, and that will reduce damage by -2 on any incoming attack. So he's acted, so he's kind of he's buffing the fighter, because he knows, or I know, that the orcs are probably going to try and attack him first. So he's going to buff him. That's his action. I think what the rogue is going to do, he has got a missile weapon. So he's got a short bow, and he's going to fire his short bow. He's hanging back. He can fire a missile attack. That missile attack can only be on enemies that are hanging back. So he's going to target an orc, and again he's going to roll 1d20. He's going to add his attack bonus, which is 2 for missile weapons, and then the orc's defensive bonus is 2, so he needs to roll over 13 on this with 2 added. 19. So normally that would be a critical hit, and at the moment the short bow has no critical hits, so there's no critical hit on the short bow hit. We deal damage to any enemy that he selects that's hanging back. You're going to select the one at the top. The damage on that is 1, so he moves that and turns it to 1. He has acted. We move it back, and that's that. That's his turn done. Mark the Adventurer's acted. Check engagement collapse. So we're still in melee, so there is no engagement collapse, and then repeat the Adventurer. Okay, next one, resolve any effects. So we're back to the cleric. What the cleric's going to do, I think he is going to, I'm going to take a risk on this, and he's going to charge in, and he's going to, because I can charge, and he's going to bring this, or he's going to charge that orc, bring him into toe-to-toe, and he's going to make his attack. We've already worked out, he's got a defense bonus of 2, plus 11, that's 13. He's got attack bonus of 1, because he's not very good in combat, but he's better than the rogue and is certainly better than the magic user. So he's got to get over 13 on this dice plus 1. 2. It's not a 1. If it was a 1, that would have been a critical fail and his weapon would have broken. Luckily, that's not happened. But it's still a miss. Repeat until it is acted. His move is acted. That's their round. That's their activation. There are no more activations. And then we move on to that. Second side activates. Okay. Resolve any effects. There are no effects. And then activate enemies in enemy activation order. Choosing one enemy that's not acted. Activation order for enemies is top down. So we start with the first orc. And all we need to do is look at the sort of enemy AI. His combat style is aggressor. We look under T toe-to-toe. He's currently in toe-to-toe. What's he going to do? He's going to do a melee attack because that's the first one. And then we look to the combat focus on who he's going to attack in his current state, which is toe-to-toe. And it's a random legal target. A random legal target would be any of these two. So I'm going to do a random roll. I'll use a d6. 1 to 3 hits the warrior, and 1 to 3 hits the warrior, and 4 to 6 hits the cleric. We've got a 1, so he's going to attack the warrior, and he's doing a melee attack. Melee attack, we've already worked that out. Got an attack bonus of 3. The warrior's defensive bonus is 2 because he has no shield because he's got a big two-handed weapon. So I need to roll over 13 with a bonus of 3 on this dice. 4, he's missed. He moves as acted. Resolve the action fully. Mark the enemy as acted. Check engagement, collapse. We're still in melee because he's still in. And the ogre's still in. And then we'll repeat again. We move on to this one. So he's in hanging back. So instead of looking at this column, we look at this column. And this says missile icon. HP icon, basically, it's conduct a missile attack if he has a missile weapon, which he doesn't because it says NA. And then what this says is if the momentum is greater than 0, which currently momentum, as we check momentum, check the enemy state condition specials and current icons momentum is there are the same number of adventurers than there are enemies, then momentum is 0, which is. So if momentum is greater than 0, which it's not, well, so I'll move on to the next one. So if it is 0 and so if it is 0, which it is, we then he performs, the arrow icon basically says he performs a charge action. And who does he perform a charge action on? He performs it on somebody who's already in toe-to-toe. And the selection is random, so we'll roll again on using the same one. So 4, he will charge the cleric, moving in on a charge. He does a melee attack on the cleric. The cleric's defensive bonus is 1, so he has to get over a 12 with a bonus of 3. He misses. He's then acted, and we do the same. So we then check momentum as we go back to the other enemy. The momentum has changed because there are now more enemies than there are adventurers. That goes to 1. So as we've talked about momentum before, you add momentum to the attack roll. And now on this where it says because there are more enemies in toe-to-toe, and then can look at this enemy action, and he will then basically do a charge, but instead of charging somebody there, you will actually charge the back line. This is basically because this is now sort of, they can't block him because there are more enemies. They can prevent them from getting to him to block it. That's what that is supposed to simulate. So yeah, he's going to move in to ready. Who's he going to charge? Well, there's only 2. So we'll have 1 to 3 and 4 to 6. That was a 6. So in this instance, he's charged the magic user. Oh dear. Into melee combat. Use the enemy's combat style, we've done that. Choose the enemy, we've done that. Resolve the action fully, including rolls, damage. So he's going to make an attack roll. Again, the target number in this instance is defense bonus is 1. So he's got to get over a 12 with a bonus of 3. And luckily for him, he's missed. E-class has acted. He's classed as acted because he did that last turn. And then we've now got the last orc. And what he's going to do based upon that, we're still at 1 because there are more enemies than there are adventurers. That was a 6 and it was +3 and it was +1 for the momentum. He still missed. Yeah, that's right, because that would have been 10. Excuse me. So we look at that and he will charge. He's going to charge somebody's HP, hanging back. There's only one person to charge. He's on the only legal target. So he's going to bring him in. He's going to go in. He's ready. He's going to make his attack. And what we've got there is, again, attack of 3. And the rogue has got a defense of 2. So he's got to get over a 13 with a bonus of 3 and 4. So a +4 to this roll. Again, which is 6. This dice is terrible for the enemies. So that will take it to 10, which is not above the 12, which again is a miss. They've acted. And then we move on to the Ogre Jailer. So the Ogre Jailer, we can look, he's in toe-to-toe. So we look at the toe-to-toe, he's going to do a melee attack. Who does he do a melee attack on? Well, his combat focus is Breaker. So he selects the adventure with the highest defensive bonus. And we look on here and we've got 2 that are tied. We've got the Rogue and the Warrior, which are tied. When you tie, it is the enemy with the lowest hit points. And in this instance, the one with the lowest hit points is the Rogue. So the Ogre Jailer will attack the Rogue. The Rogue, as we've seen, has got a defense bonus of 2. So he needs to get over a 13. His attack, because he's quite a beefy brute of a combatant, is 4, +1 for momentum. So he's got to get over 13 with an extra 5 on this roll. 8. That would take it to 13, but not over 13. So the rogue has managed to avoid that. He goes back to acted, and all the enemies have acted. We resolve morale. When we resolve morale, we look at in descending order from level, and we only trigger morale if there is they've lost more than 50% of the starting number, nobody's died yet, or 50% of the starting hit points if it's an individual enemy and he's not taking hits yet. So not to check morale. Do I want to disengage my team? No, because I think we can win this. Go back to number 1 and clear up all acted markers. We're all ready. They're all in combat, in toe-to-toe. Put the round to 2. And we'll go back to the activation for the adventurers. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to activate the rogue first, and he's going to use his quick escape, which is once per combat. He can withdraw, and we can immediately hang him back without triggering the withdraw action. And this is basically what his move. So he can move, he doesn't trigger withdraw, and he's going to get out of that toe-to-toe combat as soon as possible. That's his action. I think for the what we'll do now, I'm going to withdraw the magic user. So the magic user is going to attempt to withdraw. Now, when you withdraw, the withdraw automatically will put you back in hanging back. However, what you do is then make a roll what we would call making a check to see if that he successfully does that. Now, check works very similar to the attack roll. We have a target number that he has to achieve on his roll, and he will get a bonus to that roll to achieve it. So when we make that check, the target number is 11 plus the highest level of the enemy groups, in which case it's level 2. So the target number is 13. He uses its dexterity modifier, which say is actually +1. So he's got to get over 13 with a +1. If he fails, then one enemy of the highest level can get a free attack on that. So 1. That's a total failure. He does automatically come off hanging back, but he does get hit. He does take an attack, an automatic attack by the Ogre Jailer. So this is not looking good. So we've got attack bonus of 4 and now 5 with a defensive 1. So he needs to get over 12 plus 5. Got a 20. So that is a critical hit. And the number of damage that he does is 2. This is an interesting example. And his normal critical would be a critical on what's called Headbanger. And he must make a Constitution check or he will be stunned. Unfortunately for the magic user, what he was now, because he's only on 2 hit points, he's at 0 hit points and he becomes classed as what's classed as downed. He is out of the combat, but he's not dead. But for now, he cannot act anymore. This is looking a bit dicey now for our adventurers. Pardon the pun. And that's the withdraw. That's his action. Not a very good withdraw. So I think what we're going to have to do, I think we're going to have to use the warrior to try and maximise his damage on this, to try and start killing some people. Or sorry, defeating some enemies. So I will use the cleric, the exorcist first, make an attack to try and thin the numbers. So we've got the cleric. We've got a melee of 1, a +1 bonus against the orc, which has got a DB of 2. So I need to get over 13 with an attack bonus of 1. 3, he's missed. He's terrible. And then we've got the warrior, and he's definitely going to attack, at least not that orc, to try and take him out of the game. And what he's going to do, he's got +5 against 2, so he's got to get over 13 plus 5. And he gets a 7. Again, 5, that's 12. That's a miss. He's acted. He's not doing very well. There is some serious stuff. That is all their activations. Then we've got the enemies. And we'll activate them again in order. So we've got the orc. We look at these. He's in toe-to-toe. He does a melee attack, and it's a random attack, and it's on those 2. We've got a 5, so it's going to be the cleric. So he attacks the cleric. Cleric has got a defense of 1, so he's got to get over a 12 with a bonus of 3. 15, that's 3, that's 18. So he does his damage. The orc melee damage is 2. Then we move on to the next one. He's acted. Again, he will randomly attack one of these 2. 6 is the cleric again. And he gets 4 and he misses. And he will attack the cleric. The cleric again. The cleric's not particularly happy. That's a 20. That then again would be a critical hit. A critical hit on the orc is strike. And what that means, strike 1 is a +1 bonus to the damage on a critical. In this instance, it would be 3 damage. He's only got 2 left. It would appear that the choice to get the arcane ward on the warrior was probably not the best choice, and it should have been on somebody else. And that would have prevented a lot of things happening. which shows, just to show the casting and using these is important. He's now classed as downed and removed from play. And then we've got that. The only person he can attack is that. He's got defensive 2 and he's got over 13 with a 3. He's got 7 and he missed. Then we've got the Ogre Jailer, an attack of 5, sorry, with the momentum. We've got a 17. That's a critical hit. So on this game, critical hits are between 17 and 20. And in this again, it's a headbanger. Target must make a check on Constitution with a difficulty level of 2. I've not put his Constitution trait on, but for a warrior you would expect a 1. So we've got a target number of 13 and with a bonus of 1. 20, so he succeeds. So he may be hit, but he's not stunned. And he's took 2 physical damage. However, he is warded. So he's removed that damage and resisted it quite well. And he stays as it is. He's acted. We still got that level of momentum. We move that on to round 3. So move all of them as ready. And then we go back, clear up all active markers, update temporary counters. I've done that. First side activates, which is us. And now the question is, at the end of that, are we going to disengage depending on how this combat goes? I think the answer is yes. Let's run through it. So what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to... okay, the rogue is going to charge. He's going to charge to this and attack that orc. He's got a attack bonus with a dagger as a 0. You might have wondered why to do that and not shoot him. We can't shoot into toe to toe. So he has got a roll over a 13 just right on this dice, which is an 8, and he's not. He's acted. And we've got the warrior. He's going to try and thin this herd of orcs. He's got to get over a 13 with a +5. And he gets a 1. He gets a 1. What that means is that his weapon breaks. So that means that he no longer has them all. He has no weapon at all. In the real game, he would have most likely carried a spare just in case this happens. But what I'm going to say is that for this encounter, that he now no longer has a weapon and is going to be hitting with his bare fists. I think this is a good indication that this has not gone as planned for the party. He counts as acted, and it's now the turn of the orcs. Second side activates, and we go down again. And there are now 2. I think at least one of these adventurers is going to get off alive, at the very least. So he will target one of these 2. It is a 1, so it is the warrior. And he's got to get over a 13 with a +3. Gets a 6, and he misses. And we do the same for the rest of them. So he attacks the warrior again. And he's got to get over a 13 +3, which is 16, which is 3, which is a hit, but it's not a critical. So we take that down to 3. Let's hope that somebody targets the rogue, which they don't. 4, which is a miss. 5, which is a miss. And then for the Jake, again, let's find out what it is. A 3, which is still the warrior. And he's got to get over a 13 with a +5. 17, that's a critical hit. So he takes his damage of 2, so he's on 1. and he's got to make a constitution check again to see if he's stunned. He's got to get over a 13 with a roll with a bonus of 1. That's a 9. He fails. He's classed as stunned. I'll write that on. And that stun will disappear on his after, so he misses 1 activation. So any chances of withdrawing particularly are scuppered. So this may be a party wipe, but we'll see. So that's all the enemies acted. We'll go through with it again. He's classed as ready. Okay, turn 4. It's all right. We're definitely going to try and withdraw on this turn, I think. So the warrior is stunned. He's going to... he can't activate, and then we can clear that. As I said there, choose the sign acted. And then we've got the rogue. I think he's just going to try and... No, he's going to try and withdraw and move back. It's got a dexterity modifier of 1. The highest level is 2, so he's got to get over a 13 plus 1, which is 2, which he fails. The ogre gets an automatic attack. The attack is carried out by the highest level, which is the ogre. It's a free attack outside the normal flow. He rolls a 5. It would be plus 1, plus 4, which is 5. It would be 10. So he's missed. So he's managed to evade still the free attack. Everybody's acted, and I think we've kind of saying that on the adventurous side. So we do the enemies. There's only one he could attack, which is him, and it's a normal attack. It's over 13 plus 3, which is an 18, which is critical. It's an automatic hit because of his plus 2 damage. He's now out of the sort of combat. And then what happens, which is interesting, is you do anything, resolve the action which we've done. Each class is downed and out. Mark the enemy has acted. We've done that. And then it says check engagement collapse. If the melee state changed, which it did because there are no enemies, and when you look at engagement collapse, if one side has no combatants in toe-to-toe, move all remaining combatants to hanging back. So because there is no other in toe-to-toe, everybody gets put into hanging back. So abstractly what that means, we must be hanging back if there's nobody in combat. You can't be anywhere else. So that then takes them back there. And because everybody's hanging back, momentum changes to 2. No adventurers, then momentum equals 2. That's basically saying because you are not committed, because you're not engaged, you are more at risk of being attacked. If the side taking the initiative usually gets the bonus. And then we'll check that for the orc gang, and it's greater than 2, so it will charge an hanging back enemy. So yeah, he tried to escape, but he charged, and he's got a defensive bonus of 2, so he's got to go over 13 plus 3, and he's got a 1 who misses. And in this case, then, so that goes back to 0. There's nobody else charging HP. Looking at that, he charges that. So he will charge with no bonus this time, which is a 9, with no bonus, plus 3, which is a 12. His defense bonus of 2, so that misses. And Then we've got charge, and that goes to 1 because there are more enemies. And that's 9 plus 3 plus 1, that's 4, that's 13. It's equal to 13, it's not over it, so that's a miss. And then we've got the Ogre Jailer, and he will charge. First of all, he will charge anybody there. He does that. He's a plus 5 over 13. He gets 5. He misses. He's been very lucky. They've all acted. He that acted before. Everything's reset. It's proving very difficult for him to get away. So I am going to keep going and try to do this to its conclusion. I think the best thing that he could do is, at the minute, is try an attack, because he will politely get killed and he can't escape on his own. So he will attack, and he will attack that orc, and he's got a 0, and he's got to get above 2. He's got an 18, he's got a critical, that's a 20. So he's got a damage of 1, which he does, and he's got the critical of extra. Now, extra means he gets an extra attack on a critical, so he gets to another attack on any other enemy in toe-to-toe, so he gets another attack. And that's a 16. Now, on criticals, such as the extra critical, if you get another critical, it's like a chain attack. Obviously, this is 16, not 17. So, he's got the first kill, and he kills that orc, defeats the orc. That's his act. We've now got the enemy side. We look at theirs, and if it's greater than 1, he charges someone in hanging back, which you can't. And if it's equal to 0, that's an interesting edge case. That's an interesting edge case. Not sure why he was there. It should have been there. That's right, he wasn't hanging back. Excuse me. So yeah, it is greater than 1, and therefore he charges. I'm going to say that he charges him. In fact, he can't charge. Sorry, that's wrong. He's in toe-to-toe, so it's a melee attack. And he's ready. 3, he misses. And the next one, 20, which is a critical, which is strike plus 1, which is a damage of 3. And he's defeated. So, interesting test. Not what I expected, but that just shows how lethal some of the combat can be if... and so this is an example of a low-level party, so it's all level 1, against quite high-level opponent. Well, not high-level opponents, but quite, I would say, tough opponents. The party got some really bad rolls, and the enemy's got some really good rolls. That happens in OSR, in old school revival D&D. And I suppose what I take from that is because I got a roll that took the magic user into toe-to-toe, and he massively failed on his withdraw, instead of using his arcane ward on the warrior, he should have probably put it in on himself more than all else. If there's nothing other takeaways from that, which I did, that worked well. What would happen now is quite literally in the rules, because all the adventurers are classed as downed, all your party is effectively wiped, and that's deliberate. So the deliberateness of that is in the expedition phase, is that if you have an option to enter combat, then you have to make a decision as to if you want to do that and if you can win. and they also tactical choices really matter as to who you're going to attack and when. Also, making sure that you are in a position to withdraw early enough when you select that. So I think that went well. As a test of the full system, I think the criticals went well. They added a lot of variety into that. I think the orc gang's damage might need toning down, probably to 1 rather than 2. That might be a thing that I'm going to have to consider. But yes, that's that. So, moving on from that, I'm just going to go back to this. So what I'm going to do is, because I've now got the rules and I've got this all set up, ready to go, I'm going to do a game jam. I'm going to announce that next week, put this pack together. It will have the sort of, it will have some rules in it, and it's going to have some adventure profiles in it. It's going to have a couple of enemy profiles in it. It's going to have the tracker in it, updated with these, and basically test it to destruction, see if the rules changes that need to be made, etc. And I'll announce that. And on the next video, I'm going to basically go through what game system does this fit into in a wider context, the expedition system and the Haven system. So thank you very much for watching, and happy gaming.